Is it possible that Amazon could make a comeback in Magic the Gathering? Did they ever really leave? And is there still deals to be found? Do you guys remember when Cynthia Williams was here, crushing the value by just dumping excess stock on the market and just seeing what happened? Let the dice roll and fall as it may. Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about what's been happening since then and what you need to look for on Amazon because it may not be as calm as you think it is. There was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, that Cynthia Williams was in charge of Wizards of the Coast, and she overproduced Magic because of the COVID effect. And then the prices plummeted, overprinting was everywhere, and they had to find a way to get rid of it. So they dumped it onto Amazon at rock bottom prices. Then they dumped it again to try to find where the prices should be, and then they dumped it again, and there's warehouses, lawsuits, and all stuff going on now about the effect that happened back then. It's crazy to think about how far we've come since then. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thank you again for hanging out with me on my channel today, and that's what we're here to talk about because it's not exactly like it went away, but Wizards of the Coast has evolved with the times. For most people out there, they think that, hey, print runs are down. We don't seem to have an excess stock. Stores aren't, of course, putting things on sale like they used to en masse. We don't have product dumps coming from Wizards of the Coast and saying, hey, you can get collector boxes for $69.99. All those days are done. It's long since past. It's ancient history, even though it's not really that ancient. It's in the backdrop. It's somewhere in the green screen background. You kind of go, yeah, I remember that. Now, as we've moved on and gotten used to all the changes they put in since then, we've gone from set booster and draft booster to play booster to now like the new Aetherdrift 30-pack booster. We've had things like Brawl decks and Pioneer decks disappear. We've had Jumpstart boxes go to the wayside, only to come back again. We've had collector boxes become truly collectible. We've had some amazing cards in the uncommon slot become super valuable. We've had buyouts on the reserve list. We've had a lot of stuff moving. And none of that really involved Amazon. It sat in the backdrop. I still get orders from them. I got a new thing right here and a new thing over there. But how about you guys out there? Have you noticed anything? Because I have a lot of people who still watch Amazon looking and hoping that a deal comes along that they can snag. Now, there's a couple of questions that I needed to get answered for people. So I looked into some stuff. Now, if you're at the local LGS level and you're buying a play booster box, if you're buying one bundle pack, maybe you're going to buy a collector booster box and you spend whatever it costs, XYZ equals money spent wherever you are, because everywhere will be different in the world. Now, most of that probably came from pre-order because you said you wanted it. You put some money down. The store ordered it because we know for a fact that stores do not over-order like they used to. They just don't. Now, how does Wizards of the Coast really know how something's going to sell? Well, here's a hot take. They don't. They go by rough estimate numbers based on the previous sets. And they take an algorithm mark and say, kind of went here, kind of went there. Judging by the fanfare for this set, we think it's going to fall here. And then they send the print run off to the printers. It's a lot more mathematical than that, but they get rough estimate numbers. They do the same for bundle packs and everything else under the sun that they print to give them a good estimate number to go with. Yeah, they do have to reprint sometimes. They do. It comes around again, but not always. Now, here's the thing. Like we just said, they estimate the number. So if a store doesn't have the cash flow and says, I'm not ordering 3 cases like I used to, I'm going to order 1 case, and maybe I'll order more later. Well, that still means that Wizards of the Coast does have extra stock. It does have extra stuff staying in their warehouse, and maybe they have to move it. Maybe they need to churn things over for whatever reason. Well, where do you think it goes? It doesn't just sit there waiting to be bought by a distributor, to be imported to some other country. It's got to move now. It does end up probably in Amazon's hands. It doesn't mean it's going to be on the massive discount, but it does mean that Wizards of the Coast is still probably selling product or giving product or making sure it ends up on Amazon somewhere under subsellers or resellers or whatever, some people that they trust. And they can't dump it. It's got to be actually sold. Hopefully, it's not packs that have been hacked into and reboxed really poorly and all that stuff, because we still get photos and images of that every few months. Let's just say it's a legitimate reseller. And they get, 5,000 boxes of something. I know it seems insane, but it happens because that excess product has to go somewhere, and it's still excess. because they don't really know how things are going to sell. So if that excess product ends up in one or two parties' hands and they get given a price range to sell it at, well, stuff like this can happen. Take a look at this. If we go and take a look at the Aetherdrift booster box, right? This is the finish line bundle. Look, this thing comes with collector boxes, foil lands, collect the coolest Aetherdrift cards. You get some bundle contents of 2 collector boosters, 6 play boosters, 20 foil lands, 3 extended art cards, 2 box topper cards, 1 foil card box, 1 special spin down die, 5 mana symbol stickers, and 2 reference cards. Pretty awesome. Now, if we take a look at the price of this product, you can see here it says $84.99. This is US. This is US. So it puts it around $105 here in Canada. Now, this was cheaper a week ago. I have images of a couple of patrons who were looking at it when it was $78.99. Now, that shows that there was a price range they were allowed to sell at. And as the product started to sell, they had to raise the price. Because if you look on your screen in front of you, when it says how many have been bought in the last month, it's 7,000. 7,000 is a tremendous number to sell on Amazon. It is massive. When I compared that against what we saw for Karlov Manor, Duskmourn, which had like 2,000 boxes, Bloomberg was like 4,000. It was a good number. And things like Outlaws of Thunder Junction was like 2,000, and then of course Karlov Manor was like 1,000 and something. Those are all way lower than what we just saw for Aetherdrift because the prices were slightly different. I think it may not be a product dump, but it is a price adjustment to get these things out the door and into somebody's hands. Because that is way cheaper than I can find it here in Canada on the best of days. Now, you guys, of course, I hope you guys will leave some comments in the comment section. Let me know what prices you found at your local LGS. Hopefully you can send me an email and back up the price and not just say, look, this is the price I have. Yeah, I'd like to see facts and I want to see images from websites and stuff to prove that that's the price. Or receipts, like a lot of people do send me when they're doing buyouts and stuff. That's cool if you find better prices. But here in Canada, there's no chance. And selling 7,000 of something is insane for a product that we hear not a lot of players are interested in. But if you go back to that image, the first one that shows all the things inside that box, guys, collector boosters go for, like here in Canada, like $35 each. So the 2 boosters pay for the rest of the box if that was the case in Canada. It's insane to think you just get all the other box, you get all the play boosters, the spin down die, the foil lands, all that for free. Just for the 2 collector boosters, and there's 2 box toppers. It is insane to think where this is all leading, but it tells me that it looks like Amazon's still getting a good amount of product, just not on a product dump, to make sure they move that product out. I think they're really being cautious at Wizards of the Coast about carrying excess stock, and they're making sure they keep their numbers at a certain level. And in case you guys didn't know, for bundles, they take those numbers from set to set. If the last set sold, say they made 100,000 and they sold 80,000 as an example, they're only going to make between 70 and 80 for the next one. And if that one sells out, they'll raise it from 80 to 90. We had a big thing way back in the day for Battle for Zendikar, okay? And those things sold out because the previous set had such a poor showing that they really lowballed the number of how many they would need, but they should have known better. And there are times that Wizards of the Coast should know better, because back then they put full art lands, which was the first time they'd ever been printed. They put 100 of them inside those things, and they were going for like $3-4 a pop at the time. Yeah, I know, back in the day, right? But that's how it was played out. So sometimes Wizards of the Coast should know better. So I'm curious to see how this finish line bundle is going to do for a lot of players who are looking for it, because this seems to be, and we've talked about this as well, these are the products that sell really well right now, and that's because of the price point of play booster boxes. And even now, the Aetherdrift play booster boxes are not selling well. Here at the end of the video, if you made it this far, they're not selling well. The bundle packs are doing pretty good. Collector boxes are doing well. But those play booster boxes, most stores I know that are smaller had no pre-orders. Some of the big stores, no problem. They had a couple hundred pre-orders and that's it. That's it. They're done. That's where it gets kind of scary, because it makes you wonder what's going to happen next. But I think they're going to be safe because it's Dragonstorm Tarkir, and there's going to be a lot of fans like myself diving into that product. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, thank you again for hanging out. How do you feel about Amazon? Are they still in the game, or do you think they're actually kind of finished and this is just kind of a one-off deal and maybe it's not really going to happen again? You'd be surprised. Let me know what you think. Add any facts and information you know. Thanks again for hanging out with the Mox Man. We will see you tomorrow with another video. Hey guys, thanks a lot for hanging out with the Mox Man. Right now, what you're seeing are all the amazing patrons of the channel. The patrons make sure daily uploaded content happens because they're supporting each and every day. I want to thank them and take that moment every day to make sure they know how important they are to my channel and the continued success of MTG Moxman. To my patrons, my YouTube membership members, thanks again, guys. Don't forget the Ramble Jamble is here at the end, and you might not want to miss this one, so I'll see you soon. Have a great one. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Work coffee because this is really late. Okay, now, we're here at the end of the video. Not going to talk about magic. I know, weird, right? So, what I did here, let me just unplug this here for a second, everybody. Sorry, pardon me while I figure this thing out. So, many of you guys know I was having issues with the laptop. Okay, it just seems to keep powering down. It keeps overheating. I don't know if it's just a lemon or what's wrong, but anytime I try anything, it just shuts down in the middle of filming now. It's not working well. So I looked and researched. I went for a mini PC. I have an extra screen and stuff that I actually had in the house. I'll be hooking things up. There will be a couple of trial test videos. I can't always be the best judge because I'm the one recording and editing and looking. So there may be some short form videos this weekend, maybe 5 minutes in length or less. They'll be filmed at the other location using this with OBS and stuff, and we'll see how the editing and everything works. Please, if you can help me out, I'd love you guys to look for any choppiness, any word distortion, any lag in the relays and stuff. I would just like to know before I really kind of switch over everything onto this bad boy. It is basically a mini laptop. It's a Ryzen 9 with a 7800 AMD graphics card. It had pretty good reviews. Thousands of people say it's pretty good. I've loaded, it came with Windows and stuff. I've done the preliminary stuff. It looks good to me, but I need input. So I would appreciate the patrons of the channel, people who hang out with the Ramble Jamble, Ramble in the Jamble, to help me muddle through this, as I'm not a techie. I may have questions later. But I got everything started. That felt like a bonus day to the Mox, man. So, I mean, Mini Mox and them weren't laughing at me. That's always a good sign. So, thanks again. I hope this works out because I can easily keep an extra computer screen and a keyboard at multiple locations, making it easier to transport a smaller item in obviously a safe compartment box with the charging cord, which is all you need to bring from location to location. So I think that will work out pretty good, but we'll see how it goes. I want to thank you guys for the time. And of course, thank you to Mrs. Mox for the last couple of years of giving me Amazon gift cards. Those gift cards have been grouped together to basically pay for half of this PC. Thanks again, Mrs. Mox. And I don't spend a lot of money on stuff, but thanks again, Mrs. Mox. I appreciate it. It worked out. I have a great wife. My partner is awesome. All right. Guys, thanks again. Thanks for hanging out. Ramble and the Jamble is over. You can now move on to bigger and badder and better things. And I hope this thing works, man. I really do. Ramble, Jamble.